10 ways they make you afraid of disappointing them, and how Stoicism Jungian set limits. Introduction. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a heavy weight in your chest, not from a physical ailment, but from the vague fear that you are letting someone down? You live a life that seems not to be your own, constantly scanning the faces of parents, partners, or superiors to adjust your every step. You fear their size more than death itself, and you dread their judgmental gaze more than the judgment of your own conscience. This is not mere kindness. This is an existential crisis where your I has been crushed under the heel of external expectations. We live in an era where digital connectivity grows denser, yet the loneliness within our own souls increases because we have traded our identity for a superficial acceptance. Welcome back to our journey into the depths of the inner self. Today we will not just discuss communication skills, we will perform a psychological and philosophical surgery. Together we will dissect 10 subtle ways the outside world uses to make you fearful when you do not please them, while seeking strength in the teachings of the Stoic masters and the depth of Carl Jung's analytical psychology. This is a journey for you to find your lost inner compass, to learn how to set boundaries without feeling guilty, and to truly become the master of your own fate. Before we begin, please take a second to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video if you too are yearning to find yourself again. Your support is the motivation for us to continue spreading these values of mindfulness. Method 1. Weaponizing guilt and shadow projection. The first and most common method is when others turn guilt into a weapon to chain you. After everything I've done for you, if you really cared about me, you wouldn't have done that. These sentences are like hooks piercing straight into your self-esteem. From the perspective of Carl Jung's analytical psychology, this is the projection of the shadow. Manipulators often dare not face their own helplessness or selfish desires, so they push them onto you, making you feel like the guilty party if you do not meet their needs. Marcus Aurelius reminded us in his meditations, everything that happens justly. When someone intentionally sows the seeds of guilt, they are trying to break that justice by making you responsible for their emotions. The Stoic understands that we are only responsible for our own will and actions, prohairesis. If you have acted in accordance with virtue and reason, then the sadness or disappointment of others lies outside your control. To overcome this, you need to recognize what is truly your responsibility and what is the shadow of others being deposited into you. Carl Jung argued that the process of individuation requires us to separate our ego from collective expectations. When you learn to say, "I understand you are sad, but I am not the cause of that sadness," you begin to free yourself from the chains of false guilt. Do not let your kindness become a tool for control. Method 2, pseudo-fragility and the dependency complex. Many manipulate you not through aggression, but through weakness. They create an aura of fragility, making you feel that if you refuse them or set a boundary, they will collapse. This is an extremely sophisticated psychological trap. In Jungian psychology, this relates to complexes. The manipulator is playing the role of the eternal child, puer aeternus, forcing you to play the role of the protective parent. This dependency prevents both parties from achieving true maturity. Epictetus taught, freedom is not the right to do as we please, but the opportunity to do what is right. When you cater to the pseudo-fragility of others, you are not helping them. You are stripping them of the opportunity to cultivate their own stoic resolve. You are nurturing weakness instead of respecting their potential. Understand that setting boundaries is not an act of cruelty, but one of ultimate honesty. According to Jung, we cannot help others by losing ourselves. When you refuse to be a crutch for someone who refuses to walk, you force them to look into their own shadow. That is the beginning of healing. Remember the words of Seneca, "A man is a master of no one, if he is not first a master of himself. Do not let the weakness of others become a prison for your strength. Method 3, double standards and identification with the persona. They often impose extremely high moral standards on you, while they themselves do not adhere to them. They want you to be a perfect friend, an absolutely filial child, an employee who never makes a mistake. This targets the persona you are trying to perform for the world. Carl Jung warned that if we over-identify with our persona, we lose touch with the true inner self, the self. The manipulator knows you fear being labeled as selfish or unprofessional. Therefore, they use those labels to control you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The value of a man is measured by the objectives he pursues." If your objective is merely to maintain a perfect mask in the eyes of others, you are living a counterfeit life. The Stoics teach us to focus on inner virtue rather than external reputation. Reputation is something that is not under our control, externals. Setting boundaries here means you are willing to be misunderstood, willing to let your persona be slightly tarnished as long as you maintain your integrity within. To truly become a free person, you must dare to strip off the mask that others have tailored for you. You have no obligation to live up to anyone's definition of good other than your own conscience. Thank you for accompanying us to this part of the video. If the shares above are helping you see the invisible chains in your life more clearly, please leave a comment with the word mindful so we know you are still listening. Don't forget to hit like so the YouTube algorithm can bring this message to more people. Now let's go deeper into the next complex layers of psychology. Method 4, punishment by silence and the fear of abandonment. Silence is one of the most devastating forms of manipulation. When you do not meet expectations, they withdraw into silence, refusing to communicate, making you feel like a ghost. In Jungian psychology, this triggers the most primal human fear. The fear of being excluded from the tribe, of being abandoned in the void of the collective unconscious. They are using silence to force you to return, apologize, and beg for grace. But listen to the words of Seneca. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. The silence of others only has power if you allow it to disturb your soul. The Stoic view solitude as an opportunity for dialogue with oneself. If someone uses silence to punish you, they are revealing the weakness in their own reasoning and virtue. Learn to enjoy that silence instead of fearing it. Jung believed that only in stillness can we hear the call of the self. Instead of chasing them to break their silence, use that time to strengthen your boundaries. When you are no longer afraid of being abandoned, no one can use silence to control you anymore. True freedom begins when you feel complete, even when you are alone. Method 5, the comparison game and the inferiority complex. Look at other people's children. Why can't you be like colleague X? This is how they destroy your self-esteem, by comparing you to an unreal ideal or another individual. In Jungian terms, this is them tapping into your inferiority complex. They want you to believe you are always deficient, and the only way to fill that deficiency is to strive harder to please them. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things." Comparison is the enemy of wisdom. Each individual is a unique journey toward individuation. You cannot measure your progress by someone else's ruler. The way to set a boundary here is to refuse to participate in the race. When someone compares you, smile and understand that they are speaking more about their own insecurities than your abilities. The Stoic focuses on whether they are better today than they were yesterday, not whether they are better than someone else's child. Hold your ground. Protect the uniqueness of your soul from the leveling effect of the crowd. Method 6, moving goalposts in Sisyphean labor. Have you ever felt like you gave your best, achieved what they asked for, but immediately they presented an even higher, more difficult demand? They are never satisfied. This is a tactic to keep you in a perpetual rat race. ensuring you never have time to realize you are being exploited. In mythology, it is the image of Sisyphus forever pushing a boulder up a mountain only to watch it roll back down. Jung suggested that this is a manifestation of a bottomless, greedy shadow within the manipulator. They use you as a tool to fill their own spiritual void. But an empty soul can never be filled by the efforts of another. Stoicism teaches us about contentment with the present. Marcus Aurelius advised doing everything as if it were the last thing you do in your life, with focus and sincerity, but not letting the outcome, which is outside your control, dictate your happiness. When the goalposts are moved, your boundary is, I have done the best I could with what I have. Your dissatisfaction is your problem, not my mission. Stop pushing the boulder for someone else and start building the castle of your own soul. Method 7, false gratitude and the debt of existence. They make you feel that your existence is a debt. I gave birth to you, Tim. I supported you when you had nothing. They use past favors as a blank check to withdraw your freedom in the present. This is manipulation based on a distortion of the protective mother-father archetype. Instead of nurturing you toward maturity, they want to keep you in perpetual debt. Seneca, in his essay on benefits, wrote that a true favor is given without expectation of return. If someone demands that you sacrifice yourself to repay a favor, then it is not kindness. It is a disguised commercial transaction. And in that transaction, they are trying to buy your soul at a bargain price. The Stoic is grateful for everything they receive, but they never trade virtue to repay a favor. The way to set a boundary here is sincere but firm gratitude. I am grateful for what you did, but I am not your property. Maturity requires us to sever this psychological umbilical cord. You can only be truly grateful when you are a free individual, not a coerced debtor. Method 8, public shaming and the vulnerability of the social persona. Sometimes, they don't just speak to you privately, but intentionally humiliate or criticize you in front of others. They use social pressure to force you into submission. They know that modern humans are very afraid of losing face. In Jung's psychological structure, this is a direct attack on your social persona, making you feel exposed and vulnerable. However, Epictetus taught, no one can hurt you unless you allow them to. You are only hurt when you believe you are being hurt. A Stoic regards insults as merely the barking of a tiger or the sound of stones clashing. If you do not value reputation over virtue, public shaming loses its power. When someone tries to embarrass you to control you, the strongest boundary is composure. Do not react with anger, as that is what they want. React with coldness and wisdom. Carl Jung believed that when you fully accept yourself, including your flaws, the judgment of the world is no longer a threat. Let them keep their bitter words while you keep the peace in your mind. Method 9, the deception of the common good and misplaced sacrifice. Did they name the family, name the organization, name us to force you to sacrifice your legitimate personal needs? This is a form of collective manipulation where the I is assimilated into a toxic we. In Jungian psychology, this is the danger of herd mentality, where the individual loses the ability for independent thought and becomes part of an unconscious machine. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor. He understood the common good, but he also taught that which is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee. A healthy community is not built on the destruction of the individual. If the common good they speak of only serves the egos of a few and forces you to live a diminished life, then it is a deception. Setting a boundary here means you must clearly define the line between service and slavery. You serve because you choose to do the right thing, not because you are coerced by a collective dogma. Have the courage to say no to demands made in the name of love or responsibility if they go against the healthy development of your soul. Only when you are a strong individual can you truly be of use to the community. Method 10, gaslighting, bending reality and the loss of the inner compass. The final and most insidious method is making you doubt your own perception. You're too sensitive. I never said that. You're just imagining things. Gaslighting aims to completely destroy your trust in yourself, forcing you to rely entirely on them to know what is right. In Jungian terms, this is the separation of the individual from intuition and the animus/animus, the guiding parts of the soul. The Stoic values truth above all else. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth, which never yet hurt anybody." But gaslighting is not about pointing out the truth. It is about bending it to control. To set a boundary, you need to reestablish the discipline of the mind. Keep a journal, a key Stoic practice, to record what actually happened. Do not let the noise of others drown out the small but steady voice of your inner intuition. Carl Jung believed that each of us has a wise old man within. Reconnect with that part. When you believe in your own truth, no illusion of a manipulator can shake you. Conclusion. The journey from the fear of disappointing others to the resolve of setting boundaries is not a path strewn with roses. It is a fierce battle between the light of reason and the darkness of psychological complexes. We have walked together through 10 labyrinths of manipulation, from sweet accusations to cold silences. Do you realize it? All those tactics have one thing in common. They feed on your lack of self-belief. They survive because you value the opinions of others more than your own integrity. And the Stoics do not teach us to become cold or selfish. On the contrary, they teach us how to love correctly, a love rooted in freedom, not in dependency. When you set a boundary, you are telling the world, I respect you enough not to allow you to become a tyrant, and I respect myself enough not to become a slave. That is the highest moral act. According to Carl Jung, the process of individuation is the ultimate purpose of life. You were not born to be a carbon copy of your parents' expectations or a puppet of social standards. You were born to become your most complete self, with both light and shadow integrated harmoniously. Do not fear disappointing them. Their disappointment is sometimes the necessary bitter medicine for them to face their own lives, and the wings for you to fly toward freedom. Remember the words of Epictetus, only the educated are free, and education here is the understanding of your own soul and boundaries. From today, begin to observe the waves of emotion when you face pressure from others. Take a deep breath, stand firm like a mountain against the storm, and smile at the freedom slowly blossoming in your heart. You do not owe anyone your life. The only debt you must pay is honesty to the divine self within you. Thank you for listening until these final moments. If this video has touched a hidden corner within you, please share it with those who are also struggling in the chains of expectation. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit like, and leave a comment about your journey. Each of your interactions is a brick building our mindful community. I look forward to seeing you in our next journeys of soul discovery. Stoicism Jungian, Iron Mind, Unlock Soul.